Thanks for joining me in another video today, and a big thank you to one of my viewers for letting me borrow their car today. If you have an EV I can review, let me know at info@kaisev.com. In this video, we will be looking at the BMW i4 eDrive40. So let's get to it. The BMW Group is working towards their goal of having at least 50% of global sales be fully electric by 2030. Both the fully electric i4 and iX are big players in their plan. The electric i4 Grand Coupe was revealed in 2021 at the BMW Group annual conference, and delivery started later that year in Germany. There are two variants for the electric i4, the eDrive40 and the M50. What we have today is a 2022 BMW i4 eDrive40 that starts at $55,900 MSRP. The eDrive40 is rear-wheel drive and has an EPA range of 301 miles with the 18-inch wheels and 282 miles with the 19-inch wheels. Unless you're in the need for the extra kick with the M50, the eDrive40 still delivers good performance. Its single motor delivers 335 horsepower, it can accelerate 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds, and has a top speed of 118 miles per hour. This EV is also equipped with an 84 kilowatt-hour battery pack and can fast charge at up to 205 kilowatts. No surprises or unique differences in this exterior design. It is basically a copy and paste of its 4 Series gasoline counterparts. Except there are no two-door or convertible options available for the electrified car. However, there are some noticeable changes as an EV. The biggest one is in the front with the huge kidney grille blanked off, and its space is utilized to integrate its cameras and sensors. The rear diffusers have cover panels on them, though there is an illusion of 2 exhaust pipes. On the rear passenger side, you will find your charging port. The car supports the J connector for AC charging and CCS for DC fast charging. There are these nice slim taillights, which BMW states is a testament to the appearance of speed. This vehicle has the M Sport look, which changes things up a bit from the classic BMW design. With the M Sport, you get a Shadowline exterior trim, 19-inch wheels, and these large air curtains. In the back, we have a large tailgate, and you get a volume of 470 liters or 16 cubic feet. And that's with the back seats up. With the seats down, you get more room. Even better. A little extra room in the sub-trunk. There is no front trunk under the hood, which not every EV has or is needed, but it still would be nice to have seen better utilization of the space. The dimensions of the car come in at 188.5 inches in length, 81.6 inches in width. It has a ground clearance of 4.9 inches, so it sits lower to the ground. It is comparable in size to the Tesla Model 3 and a few inches smaller all around compared to the Polestar 2. Inside, you'll immediately notice this huge curved display, which is a combination of the 12.3-inch instrument cluster and the 14.9-inch infotainment system. It's flat and situated conveniently for you as a driver. There are a lot of customization options for your BMW, including tech add-ons, trims, color options, and accessories. In this car, we have a heads-up display, which was added for an extra $1,100. It's also equipped with the premium package that adds things like heated seats, heated steering wheel, and ambient lighting. Okay, let's focus on the tech for a second. Good news, there is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility. The system has voice control, supports Bluetooth, GPS navigation, and wireless connectivity. You might feel overwhelmed by this screen, but know that you still can control some basic things with these buttons and knobs. For instance, you have your volume button here, and of course on your steering wheel as well. There are a lot of different apps on the menu. You have Spotify, SiriusXM, the weather, you can adjust some driver settings, climate control, and the exterior lighting, amongst other things. And it's pretty quick to respond once you tap something. Loads up navigation. Let's go back here. If you want to look at the weather. So it's pretty snappy. And this dial down here is pretty cool too. If you don't want to use a touch screen, you can just navigate with this. You have various USB ports in the car, one USB-A port up here, one USB-C port under here, and 2 USB-C ports in the back. This car seats 5 people, and there's adequate headroom and legroom, though I would need a taller person to actually test this part out. The center seat is pretty small, so 2 people would fit comfortably back here, but I don't know about 3. There's also a sunroof in this car. On to the fun part. And there's a start button on here. And for some reason I'm expecting an engine rumble, but I know that's not in here, so immediately I'm noticing that this car feels heavy, but it's very stable. There are 3 driving modes, so right now I have it on Eco, but there's Eco Pro, Comfort, and Sport. And depending on the driving mode, your interior lights will match it. So Eco right now is kind of a blue color. Put it on Comfort, it's kind of a brown tan. That's cool too, it changes the screen. And then on Sport, it's red. And you could also customize it even further. I'm a Model 3 owner, so I was curious to see how this drive compares to my car. And the first thing I'm noticing is that it's way quieter inside than my car. My car is a little more rattly versus this one. And going over bumps, this car absorbs them really well. I could hardly tell we're going over anything uneven surfaces. Also, looking at the interior, I have to say this, but this car is better built than my Tesla on the inside. It just seems like everything seems more premium. The other thing I'm noticing is that in my Model 3, the drive feels more agile and it's quicker to react, especially with the steering. In this one, it's a little slower to react, but I think the word relaxed would better describe this drive. The great thing about EVs is regenerative braking, and in this car you have a few options. When you're in drive mode, you can change some of the options on the screen. So you have high, medium, and low. You can also switch to B mode down here, and this gives you quick access to stronger regenerative braking. So when you're driving, you press on the accelerator, and then when you want to slow down or come to a stop, let off the accelerator. Oh, and that's really strong, and it's going to quickly slow you down to 0 and make stop. I really like the backup camera. It's very clear and bright. You can see where we're going. Let's do an acceleration test. And we're on sport mode. Here we go. Whoa. I was not expecting that. There we go. As I just tried it out, it has great acceleration, but it also delivers a balanced drive for your everyday commutes. It's a great drive. So then what is powering this machine? As mentioned before, this is a rear-wheel drive model, so we've only got a single motor on the rear end. It has a 5th generation BMW eDrive electrically excited synchronous motor capable of outputting up to 250 kilowatts. It contains a single housing for the motor, power electronics, and single-speed transmission. The motor has a single gear reduction of 11.115 to 1. The battery in this car comes in at 83.9 kilowatt hours total capacity and 80.7 kilowatt hours usable capacity. It has a nominal voltage of 398.5 volts, so it's using a traditional 400 volt design. The battery is comprised of prismatic lithium-ion cells which are stored in the floor of the car. It appears that BMW is happy with prismatic batteries used in the i3 and decided to continue using them in the i4. In the car, we have an 11 kilowatt onboard charger, which is standard across all trims. With a battery of this size, it's good to see that they opted for a higher power onboard charger. A 0 to 100 charge at 11 kilowatts will take a bit over 8 hours to complete. This car also has a maximum DC fast charging speed of up to 205 kilowatts. That gives it a C rating of 2.44. For reference, the fastest charging cars on the market have a C rating just above a 3, so it's not too far behind. BMW says that it can charge from 10% to 80% in only 30 minutes. That's pretty good. Time to charge. We plugged in on a 150 kilowatt Electrify America charger because both the 350 kilowatt stalls at this site were out of service. This 30-minute charge was free due to a promotional charging program that gives new owners 30 minutes of free charging for 24 months. Without the promotion, the cost for this charge would be $15.91. Let's look at this data a little closer. Starting at 33%, the highest rate we saw was 156 kilowatts, and it slowly tapered down over time. This charging curve looks pretty typical, and at 80% the car was still charging at 61 kilowatts. It took us 25 minutes to go from 33 to 80%. There are many EV options out on the market now, but the two that most people like to compare it to are the Tesla Model 3 and the Polestar 2, which I don't have right now. How does the i4 fare against these competitors? Just as a note, what I am talking about here is just the stats on paper. Things like ride quality and handling are more subjective. When deciding between these vehicles, it's up to your preferences on what you value most in a car. Okay, moving on. I pulled up what I think to be are the most relevant stats when shopping around for an EV, and I wanted to compare the single motor base models without any add-ons. Starting with the range, the BMW wins, being able to go about 30 miles further than both of its competition. It also has the biggest battery out of the three, with the Model 3 rear-wheel drive having a considerably smaller battery than both the BMW and the Polestar. This next stat is directly influenced by the battery size, and that's weight. The Model 3 with its smaller battery ends up being a few hundred pounds lighter than the other two. It also ends up being the most efficient as well, so even though it's got the smaller battery, it still has a decent range. On 0 to 60, the BMW is the quickest at only 5.5 seconds. Of course, if that's the stat that matters to you the most, you should probably be looking at the performance model. For the onboard charger, I marked this one as a tie. That's because even though the Model 3 has a smaller onboard charger, all three take roughly the same time to charge. The BMW is once again the winner for DC fast charging, getting up to 205 kilowatts. Having the biggest battery gives it an advantage of being able to charge at a higher rate. Last up is the price. The Model 3 is the cheapest of all three, but they're all within the same price segment of $10,000. These prices don't include any upgrades or incentives, so depending on what's available in your area, these may be different. As always, it's best to do a test drive to see which one you like best. The BMW i4 eDrive40 delivers a nice range and decent charging rate. If you're a fan of BMW's styling, then the i4 stays true to the traditional exterior design. Since this is not built on a dedicated EV platform, it does have some compromises, but even so, it still proves to be a worthy competitor in the EV space. What do you think? Thanks for spending time with me today. Make sure to subscribe for more EV content and follow me on social media at Kai'sEV and Kai's Tesla. Kai's my dog. And check out my website for more EV resources at kaisev.com. That's all for now, and happy charging.